Men read books and exercise in the narrow space. I even eat here and go to the bathroom. He's not in jail. We're in the middle of a high IQ bank robbery. A few days ago, the man entered the bank by posing as a painter. Used a bright light to disable the surveillance. Several of his companions entered through a side door and locked it tightly. But suddenly the security guard then a pistol to the guard's waist. Everybody get down on the fucking floor, yeah. It was obvious that this was a robbery. The robbers were very tough. The four men soon reached the top. Hold all hostages with AK-60s. Matchmakers don't worry about losing robbers their lives. Invest to remind everyone. They're here to withdraw some money. Anyone who gets in the way of their head will be blown off. An agent saw smoke coming from the bank. Hurry up and check. He's about to call the police. A silver pistol protrudes from the room. The robber alerted the police. Start killing the hostages if the cops get near him. It was already clear that this was a bank robbery. Soon police cordoned off the crime scene. The bank was surrounded by water. A robber can't escape such a setup. Enter Mr. Fraser, the negotiator. But the robbers didn't panic. They took dozens of hostages under the bank. One of the female bandits separated the hostages. Staff and clients are divided into two rows. Then take everyone's keys and cell phones. The bank manager just handed over the keys. He opened his eyes and made up an excuse. Said his phone fell off the shelf. How could the robbers believe that? But the manager was driven to tears. He's still sure he left his cell phone at home. It's very simple. The robbers rummage through the staff phone contacts until we find Peter Hammond. Then you dial the phone. The bell rang in the next room. The manager was horrified. The robber entered the room and then he took Hammond, dragged into the room followed by an education. Beat the manager half to death. The matchmaker is no longer hostage obedient. Offered to hand over his car. The robbers separated the hostage men and had them stripped down to their underwear. Then the hostages were dressed in the clothes the robbers had brought. Hostages were all dressed and then we're gonna lock it up in several offices. One of the hostages had a heart attack. The robbers didn't kill him. I opened the door and sent him out. The same old man was taken down. From his mouth learned that the four robbers are very tough. But he had to be taken away by the police. The robbers went past the hostage area to the safe in front of the house. Then he went to the treasure box. Then came a warehouse. They seemed to be running smoothly. The president's face was red. He hurried to find someone with tough credentials. At a location where no one can eavesdrop. The bank is just a sliver of his assets. But there's an important secret on him. He asks only one thing of a woman. That is not letting anyone touch his safe, including the police or the robbers and the women themselves. Then the woman went to the mayor. The mayor greeted with a smile. The woman had something on him. He needs the mayor's help. Fraser's trying to get in touch with the robber sat calmly by the phone, till the phone hangs up. Then the robber reappeared in front of the bank. This time they handed over another hostage. The police approached cautiously, take down the robber as a hostage. They had a long standoff. No one can be sure that he is not the robber. We don't know it wasn't a bomb. They unloaded the men's cups. After opening it says they want to buses full of gas. A jetliner full of gas and its pilot. Available until 2 p.m. Or kill one hostage every hour. If anything goes wrong, the bomb at the bank will be activated. The police couldn't help it. It's impossible to give them planes. There is no chance of negotiation, and they have to take it slow. The bank president then approached several police detectives. He was trying to help. He can provide planes and buses if needed. The detectives thanked the president for his kindness. And sent him away in a panic. Surrounded by police officers, the robbers reappeared. Who are the bandits and who are the hostages? They can't make a move. The robbers handed out a piece of paper. They want food for 50. The police finally got their chance. They bought dozens of pizzas. 10 bugs were planted in it. One of the hostages couldn't take it anymore. He took off his mask. He thought he'd be fine. He knew the robbers were trying to confuse the police. Maybe they'll all be shot by the police. Just then the robbers came in. The robber dragged the man by the calf. I'm gonna drag him out of here. I didn't do it. The move terrified the hostages. The man tried to grab the drawer in a hurry. Then he grabbed another hostage. The female hostage was terrified. The man was taken to a room. He never came out again. 50 dinners ready. Some water and pizza to the bank. This is Fraser's first encounter with the robbers. He introduced himself. He wants to know what happened to the hostages. I just hope the robbers answer his phone. The robber said nothing, but looking at driving seems to talk. Robbers frequently swap rooms for pawns. Break up the hostage formation. Then the female robber started screaming. With a slight change, posing as a hostage. He was then forced into the hostage pile by another robber. The hostage's room was turned upside down. The bug speaks a whole bunch of foreign languages. They don't understand. Fraser amplified the sound the concubine asked for help from the spectators at the scene. One of the volunteers told them the recording was in Albanian, which the man could not understand. Because his ex-wife is Albanian, all he could be sure of was Albanian. Fraser can only persuade men. Tell him to call his ex-wife. The man's ex-wife arrived. He had one request. That is to wipe his car clean. Fraser agreed, but the wiretaps pissed them off. It was a speech by the former president of Albania. Only they were all fucked. Turns out the robbers knew they were bugging. So I played a recording of the speech. The chief robber went to the safe and took off his mask. There are thousands of men out there, but he's going to win. The robber is too arrogant. The bank was flooded with police, but he didn't panic at all. The robbers went to the safe and found safe Sanjoar. The female bandit opened it professionally. Inside was an important document. Below is a pile of black bags. The bag is full of diamonds. Fraser finally got a hold of the robber. Is this the president of Albania? You shouldn't leave stuff on people. The robbers only ask for a certain amount of time. Give him what he wants, or there will be a massacre. This was another call an hour later. The robber seemed to be getting worried. He needs the bus and plane in place fast. Fraser could only delay. Because planes are no small thing. He needs a few hours. That's when the mayor himself arrived at the scene of the robbery. He found Fraser. The detective introduced the influential female politician. The woman said she could help Fraser. He wanted to get into the bank and talk to the robber. Fraser disagrees, but he had to obey his superior. He called the robber. After the woman spoke to the robber boss let him in. First, of course, is the pat down. Every position from head to toe. Women are confident. Tell the robbers when you get in. Amazing thing. The police never prepared the plane. He gave the robber a good idea. That is surrender. She guaranteed him 3 years in jail. You get army, Ian, when you get out. He wanted him to go to the safe and get a file. I can fulfill my promise to the robber. Then the robber told the woman a story. During World War II, there's an American working for a Swiss bank. He's cashing in on his connections with the devoid of moral conscience, watching innocent people get stripped of everything. He used the dirty money to set up a bank. Then the robber hands over the file. It was the woman who wanted to take the share. But the man knew that if he did get caught, just take this file. The woman's employer will do everything he can to help him. The woman asked him, how do you want to get out? The robber told him to walk straight out the front door. The woman said all she had to say and left the bank. What did they say? Fraser wondered. Someone who can come through the mayor. How could you possibly tell Another call to the bank. Fraser told the robbers his plane was ready. But he had to make sure the hostages were safe. Fraser wants to get into the bank himself. The chief robber agreed. Fraser was given a full checkup, led by the robbers. He went to the room where the hostages were being held. All the hostages were unharmed, just as strong as the robber. Even the hostage kids were playing games. The disobedient robbers were kept in solitary confinement. Fraser told him before he left, or go out with him and turn yourself in. The Thunderball team will attack. Throw tear gas into the fire. He saw that the robbers didn't want to kill the hostages. But the robber boss still confidently told him he's ready to walk out the door. On the way down the stairs, Fraser suddenly struck. He has no regard for his own dangerous attempt to unmask the robber. Fortunately, it was only the accomplices who arrived to stop Fraser. Fraser left the bank without incident, but he was sure they wouldn't kill anyone. But they have another agenda. The robbers came outside the hole. The best brother scolded the oldest, reprimanded him for being too close to that cop. That's when the robber called. They set up a surveillance camera. The robber and the security camera took out the first hostage. Their patience was at its limit. Fraser was utterly outraged. He went to the bank and lost his temper. They had been led by the nose. The robbers also saw that Fraser was serious about saving people. There was justice in his eyes. But the boss doesn't think so. He no longer trusted Fraser. Give the next task to the captain. The captain had mastered the bank plan. They make perfect plans, ready to go straight in with tear gas. Fraser was suspended from command, but he didn't give up. Then he suddenly thought of the box the robber had demanded. So I opened it up. It turned out to contain a bug. They were counter-bugged. Every word in the command van was heard by the robber. By this time, the captain had begun his operation. When the boss of the bank robber heard the news, hurry up and take the lead. Throw out the smoke bomb. Gather all the hostages, and then I'll hang out with them. This is a ceiling class of robbers. They made the hostages dress like the robbers and blend out of the bank with the hostages. Not a penny is missing, and they're making a lot of money. This one really blew up. The police prepared tear gas. The robbers quickly infiltrated the hostages. 50 people ran out of the bank with their hands up. But the robbers were dressed as Thunderball or a rubber bullet attack. The hostages threw up their hands and surrendered. All on the ground. They are safe. And the task force on this operation, they couldn't determine who the hostages and who were the robbers in the mix. They collected an entire bank that was empty. They need to find that body. The utility room was untouched. Not a penny was missing from the vault. Money is neatly laid out. They guessed that the robber had botched the robbery, so he gave up and infiltrated the hostages. But when they found out, when all the guns and ammo left behind were fake, it's getting weirder and weirder. They went to the women's room. It turns out the robbers didn't kill anyone. Even shooting the hostages was a prop simulation. All the police can do now is question the 50小时 hostages. For robbers will be among them. It's a shame every hostage is innocent. They were taken to the police station because the robbers were in the process of robbery. They keep messing up the hostage formations. Today's questioning yielded no clues to the police. Fraser is still feeling a cloud, but the boss told him there was no suspect and no robbery, and no one up there is forcing them to solve the case. That's how a robbery is a robbery. Innocent hostages were also released. Fraser still doesn't want to give up. He checked the safe deposit box. There's something fishy about finding safe Sanjoar. He's going back to the bank to find out, and the looting is still going on. The chief robber hid in the corner of the bank. Here we go. It's been going on for a week. They're not after the bank's money. It's the president's safe. It's all these shiny diamonds. There was a lot of dealing with the police the day of the robbery. Looks like the police are stalling for time. The reality is that the robbers need time. Among them are decorators. He used the time he bought to move the warehouse more than half a meter away. Long enough for the chief robber to hide. And the pit drilled out of the ground is for the oil. Take a dump so the bank doesn't suspect the smell. When the police found the warehouse, small changes don't show any change at all. The three robbers were later released by police. When the boss gets the message, push the box open and crawl out the back of the warehouse. Put the board back in place. The hard partner suddenly saw the policeman reappeared at the bank, so he quickly informed the boss. But the eldest did not panic. He's as cool as he says he is. Walk out of the bank fair and square. He intentionally bumped into Fraser to apologize and leave. He made it to his partner's car. The end of a perfect crime. They may be robbers, but their conscience is clear. They stole from a man who had no conscience. Fraser got a hit on safe 392R. There was a diamond in it, and a letter from the robber. The robber suggested he start with the diamond. Through the communication of the day of the robbery, robbers determined that Fraser was a good cop and thought he had the gumption and ability to bring down the bankers. Fraser lived up to his expectations. The bank president was brought down. Illusion you're all where crime will surface. The group tells a highly intelligent robber got a bunch of top people spinning around. Banker's dirty secrets come to light. He can find female politicians, and the woman has the leverage on the mayor and push around by the mayor. Fraser's boss said he had to close the case. It's all about protecting the bank president. Fortunately, there is a finally bring the wicked to justice. Fraser came home to the girl he had been longing for. He was promoted to detective first class and lost his ready for badge. A night of bliss. But suddenly he found a diamond in his pocket. He suddenly thought of the man who had. Then it occurred to him that the robber had to walk out of the bank.